That's it, you have finished Pokémon Sword and Shield. The game has been out for several weeks now and some people have managed to modify it. However, some of these mods are very useful and super interesting, and that is why I invite you today to discover them in this video. So without further ado, let's discover together the 5 best mods in Pokémon Sword and Shield. Walkthrough walls. This hack is a classic in most Pokémon games. We already had fun exploring our Emerald or Platinum versions using our emulators. Although it is a little more complicated on the Nintendo Switch, it is however possible to visit the Galar region by going wherever you want. It will also allow us to answer a lot of questions that fans may have asked about some strange places. There is in particular this grid in Hammerlock, which had intrigued a lot of players, whereas in the end it hides absolutely nothing. On the other hand, at this place to the east of the same city, there will be a kind of hidden courtyard. It seems extremely bizarre that the developers got pissed off creating this place if you can't even access it. It's the same for the famous tour in the wild areas. We can enter it but still no way to know what it can hide, even if I think it will most certainly be linked to the famous hidden Pokémon, which we will talk about later. The hidden Pokémons. It is thanks to a hack that we discovered several days ago that certain Pokémons not appearing in the Pokédex are nevertheless coded in the game. There are, for example, almost all the legendary of Pokémon Black and White like Zekrom, Reshiram or even Keldeo. There are also the legendary of Pokémon Sun and Moon and other stars of the first generation. As these Pokémon are today impossible to obtain in the game, there is a safe bet on the fact that these will one day be available via Dynamax events, just like Snorlax, which was announced a few weeks ago by Nintendo. In any case, this is what everyone hopes, because if the developers had fun creating the animation of their signature attack, is that it intends to make them available to players. Randomize the game. So, as many of you may not know what Randomizer means, it is actually a fairly well-known method in Pokémon games which consists of making everything random using a software. It can be the wild Pokémon, those of the trainers, the objects, the talents, or even the attacks. With the old Pokémon games it was very easy to do, and the more the generations advance, and the more it gets complicated. However, if we succeed, it always becomes more interesting and more fun for the game experience. In Sword and Shield we can even make random the Pokémon that moves in nature, which is really super stylish. We can just as well come across starters in nature as ultra rare and ultra powerful Pokémon at the very beginning of the game. Sometimes it can even create a little weird stuff. It can also increase the difficulty of the game and give it a wind of freshness. This hack is therefore considered for me as the best of all through the Pokémon games. Travel without starter. In each generation the game reacts differently if one tries to make actions which was not normally possible in this one. One of the best known is to try to see how the game behaves if the player avoids taking the starter using a hack. In most generations, the player will send a buggy Pokémon, or even more recently a level 999 Bulbasaur in Sword and Shield. The game will react differently from the others. It will even become completely buggy. The wild Pokémon will literally become non-existent, just like most of the NPC. The game will become a kind of ghost game in which everything seems to have disappeared, and it gives a pretty creepy atmosphere. If we try to start a fight or heal our Pokémon, the Switch will automatically crash. There is no way to advance even a little bit in the game without any Pokémon, unlike some versions that preceded it. Non-existent Pokémon. Unlike the hidden Pokémons in the game we talked about just before, some Pokémons are not present at all in the game and will probably never be. At least that's what we might believe if we add a Pokémon not belonging to the game, like a Dialga for example. This one will be automatically replaced by a sprite of Pikachu with a normal type that will keep its name and attacks, but his talent will be completely removed and his stats will be reduced. Concerning these attacks, if they are not available in the game it will be impossible to use them in combat. On the other hand, there is a detail which could make us suppose that these Pokémon could well appear one day in the game. If we take a Pokémon non-existent at level 1, and that we make him gain levels, he will learn the attacks which he normally learns when he goes up in level, as in this example with a Torchic who learns Ember at level 10. And that's it for the 5 best hacks of Pokémon Sword and Shield. There are of course a lot of others hacks like the code to have shiny every time, infinite PV or the capture rate at 100%, and let's not forget before all that most of the time these hacks can harm the gaming experience, and in some cases spoil the work of the developers. I therefore encourage you to use them. Thank you for following the video to the end, and if you liked it and you would like others in this style, do not forget to leave a huge like and subscribe to the channel. See you soon.